leadership! I am down here in my cave. I am fighting off the virus and aliens as they come for me. So, hopefully you are doing the same. So, it was brought to my attention that I may have failed you as your leader. So, we will get the troops back in order. It was a little depressing coming to this online class and missing that interaction with all of you that I thought was part of the process of actually helping you understand leadership. And having that even taken away from me, I think got me down. So I slapped up a few videos and tried to deal with everything. And you deserve better than that, because I want you to be better for me, so I need to be better for you. You see how that works? So I'm back live. These were not recorded in the summer. I am truly here down in my cave. The aliens are not coming, but I also can disguise myself as a fox if I need to from them, and hopefully they won't eat me. Yes. So we are going to talk about some other theories of leadership. Are you ready? All right. Crazy things call for crazy times. So I sent you this big old long email about the project and what's going on. Please read it carefully. Lots of reading. And you're still working with your groups. We are not changing that. I encourage all of you. I got on a Zoom with a group the other day. Loved it. I was blown away. Awesome job they're doing. I'm really excited. I still want you to finish this project because I feel like it's really critical to the job market most of you will end up working in. And hopefully you're learning things you didn't get in this major that probably your journalism or PR or media folks or even business folks got. That's going to give you just another leg up on competition come job time. I also want you to have something tangible that you can take away and present and say, I did this. I think that's also a very important part of this project. So it's time to get going, and it's time for us to keep moving forward. We have a few more things happening, so let me explain those and have some coffee too. Cheers. If we get bored and we need some musical entertainment, I also have that down here in the cave for us as well. We'll get to that later. So I'm hunkered down, as you can see, in the bunker and trying to teach and be a leader. So over here, you will now see some things happening. Assignments, chapters. These are where your lessons are now going to be kept, is in these content tabs. If you don't, go ahead and look under assignments. I have posted and updated. Here's where you will be uploading your PR proposal, and here's where you will be uploading your final paper. So this is the prompt. You're going to actually upload it to the Turnitin link, but the prompt is here now. This is not due until a really long time from now. May, let me look at the calendar. Hold on. The motion says this is due May 11th. On May 11th, the aliens will come for your paper. All right, May 11th. So it's due finals week, because remember, this is your final. We don't have a quote-unquote final exam. That's why we call it exam 2. Let's talk about this paper. It's a personal paper. This is not a paper you should be running to the library and getting tons of resources for. This is a paper that comes from your point of view. One of the things that was supposed to happen was that each of you would reflect, if you remember this now, on the very first day of class, I asked you to write down what you thought leadership was. Yeah, remember that? Those papers are all in my office. Yeah, guess where I can't go? They're not even letting us on campus. So at this point, I can't even access my office. So you might remember what you wrote. My hope, or kind of the purpose for me of this class, is that while your definition of leadership on the first day was most likely very accurate, not wrong in any way, but you've learned what it means and could write about it in a deeper depth now. Because guess what? You have to. I'm sorry. It's the coffee, but we're going to keep going. So, you are going to write a 4 to 5 page paper reviewing the literature on a current leadership philosophy that most applies to your own personal views of leadership. You do need 5 scholarly articles, but hold the phone, don't go crazy. You have a textbook, and if you look at all the articles I've posted on class, on Blackboard, that's all you need. Research is already right on Blackboard for you. So you should use those articles. If you even noticed, I think the articles are already an APA source site. Look at that. Who did such a thing? So they're here for you. Use these articles. They are for you. We're going to be talking about these 2 articles next. So, all right, back to this. You're going to basically, I want it to be scholarly in that you can understand the leadership theory, but I also want it to be personal. So you may define leadership however you want. You can borrow a little bit from what you wrote on the first day. You can borrow a definition from anywhere you want, something we've talked in class. But I want you to look at the idea or the notion of leadership and communication. I want you to pick 1 to 3 even positions you most closely identify with and why you think this is what leadership should be. So what does that mean? We have really looked at a ton of leadership perspectives and theories, from basic task and relational, autocratic, democratic, transformational, transactional, situational, adaptive leadership, and we're going to cover servant and authentic leadership. My hope is that one of these has resonated with you, that you found interesting, that you said, I think that's what leadership is about. So this is like what I like to call a smorgasbord, where you've got, oh, this is too dreamy right now. You can't even get milk at the store. And I'm talking about smorgasbords. You have all these different foods lined up, and you get to pick and choose the best ones and the best parts to make your definition. Finally, I want you to include in that how you believe ethics and values play into your leadership style. So, bloop, bloop, APA format, please make sure, should be about 4 pages, 5 references, yada, 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 yada. Oh, there's the inspiring vision picture for you, or vision of leadership. Again, this is not due until May, and you can't possibly start writing it yet, so someone's going to start it today, and don't. I still have a few more styles and topics of leadership to talk to you about that I think will shape your view about what you think leadership is. But know that it is there. Okay, so that is up under assignments now. Your PR link is up under assignments. We will have a tab that will say exams. So we do still have one more exam. If you are watching the videos, someone pointed this out, and I think that this is a helpful thing to do, is you've got the study guide right here. So as you're printed off, as you're watching these videos now from home, you can be filling this in. Now for 6 and 7, I have stuck extremely close to the chapters. So 6 and 7 are great if they're coming from the book. SimLog. We're not going to get to do SimLog. I'll tell you real quick what it is. It stands for Systematic Multi-Level Observation of Groups. I'm going to be teaching a special studies seminar in small group and teamwork. This is something I use when I go out consulting with other companies. I'm sure I have some SimLog stuff back here somewhere. These are just a few of my books, except the ones up top. Oh, goodness. Oh, they bring back memories. The Tonka Big Truck book. I read this way too many fucking times. All right. So, SimLog we're not doing. Don't worry. Then we're going to cover servant and authentic leadership. We will talk about emotional intelligence. Huge buzzword. We got to talk about ethics some more. And a few other topics. I also want to talk about women and diversity and leadership, etc. But use your study guide as you're watching these videos. All right. Good with that? Boom. All right. Shoom. So, 2 more styles of leadership. Are you ready? I don't know if I am, but I'm trying to make a rebound. I got up, got dressed, put makeup on. So let's go. Let's try to make this work. So as I like to say, if you thought we were done, we've only just begun. There are still a few more theories of leadership out there. And these are 2 of my favorite, and they're very interesting theories. So the first one that we are going to look at is servant leadership. You've heard this. It is huge. And let me tell you about it first before I tell you what I really think about it. It did originate with the writings of Greenleaf. If we were in my office at school, I would show you Greenleaf's books and what he came up with. It basically, servant leadership's a hard one because it's somewhat of an oxymoron in that how can I be leading people if I'm serving them? But a lot of people really love this idea. Servant leadership then emphasizes that I be attentive to you, my followers. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. Servant leaders put followers first. Everything is about you. Servant leaders are hopefully ethical and lead with the greater good of the organization at large. Okay, are you getting the idea here? What might be a problem with servant leadership? I am here for you at all times. Everything is about you. I serve, 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 serve. Here's my big gripe with servant leadership. At the point that I am there for everything my followers need, 2 things happen in servant leadership. An incredible amount of burnout on the leader. And the second thing is the leader sometimes stops leading and gives in, and the people take over, but not in the way they should be. So if I came to class and I said to you guys, I'm here for you, what do you want to do? You would have told me, nothing. And would that have been beneficial to you? No, I can't. Let me just say, if I said, how can I serve you? You would not pick the best ways for me to serve you and grow and learn. You would pick the worst ways. No offense, no offense. So let's talk about some of the attributes of a servant leader with those 2 big kind of negatives on the side. Usually if we were in class, I'd say brainstorm a list of these kind of servant leader professions. Where do you typically find servant leaders? These are people who are basically leading, but they're giving in or serving a population. I'll tell you right now, you find them in the healthcare field. They are there for their followers, their patients, the counselors, psychiatrists, social workers, teachers, believe it or not, are a very high servant. Ministry and church positions, high servant leadership. And if you take a look at all these types of positions, they have some of the greatest rates of burnout. And we'll talk about that. So Greenleaf says there's 10 characteristics. These are listed in the article, and you can kind of read each one. But I do think some parts of servant leadership are critical. And I really like the first 2 on this list. Obviously, listening. I don't think we do enough listening to other people. A lot of times people want to just be heard. But we have to be careful with that because we also call that, again, I think I might mention that, paying that lip service, where you listen to them, but then you don't really do anything about what they've said. People catch on pretty quick. And if you ask me what I want and I tell you and you don't do anything about it, and then you ask me what I want again and I tell you and you don't do anything about it, guess what happens when you ask me what I want? I just say, whatever, because whatever I say, you're not going to do anything about. So it has to be a real, what we call active listening. Empathy, understanding the plight of the other person, having empathy for them. I was so excited, story time. My son loves his new job, and it's been raining, which makes it hard to ride a motorcycle. And the other night, his boss just gave him the shop car. Said, just take the car. That way you won't get all wet, because he had shown up at work all wet from riding his bike, and the guy just gave him the car, and we said, well, what kind of car is it? Because, it's a shop in Del Mar, and this kid's like been servicing Maseratis and shit, right? So it was a really, really freaking nice car that he just let him drive home because it was raining. You know what? That's empathy. Nobody wants to be riding around in their motorcycle in San Diego in the rain. I think his boss is just a freaking awesome guy. So his boss bought them all lunch the other day because they were supposed to go out and do like a team building activity, and it didn't happen, so he bought them all lunch. All right, healing. Healing is this is a tough prescription. And again, can be counterintuitive sometimes if the person doesn't want to be healed or the followers don't want to be healed per se. But what I think healing is trying to remove past obstacles to get followers over fears, get followers over and through value changes, because these are scary things. Look at what's going on right now. People are scared, and this is going to have a lasting effect. And we need a leader who's really going to help us be more confident that we're going to get through this change. And by that, I don't just mean saying, well, everything's going great. I don't know who I would be imitating, but okay. Anyway, I have a mooer too. Okay. Really, I should stop. Awareness. I think you get the idea. Healing. Awareness. This kind of almost goes back to being out on the balcony. I have to have a keen awareness of where all my followers are and what their needs are. So then again, you can see we're like caregivers in a profession like this. This is a tremendous amount of personal to take on. And we see the burnout. I do have to have some persuasion, because I think servant leaders typically work with groups that are very anxious or maybe scared or maybe going through tough times. And how do you become aware of everything that person might be coming in contact with and how you might approach that? So you might find this hard to believe, but as a professor, I get told a lot of stuff, man, and there's stuff I'm not ready for, that I don't even have an awareness that's going on with my students, and I don't always know how to handle it. I think the first time I had a student tell me they were going to commit suicide, I was like, what now? And I had to go get resources and become more and more aware of what are the situations you all are dealing with. And I got my Cosmo in the mail this week. I said, I wonder if I should read Cosmo. Will that give me any idea of the problems going on with this generation? I don't know. I'm going to leave that one for now. But developing an awareness of the climate, what's happening with people, and what's currently going on, and persuasion to help them get over whatever those issues are. You have to have vision. We've talked about this a lot. Conceptualization and foresight to me are a lot like vision, that you can help see them, keeping them going on the future. I admit it, fully lost a little bit of foresight in these last 2 weeks. Just everyone was uncertain what was going to happen, and I could have done better. And I should be re-recording these lectures and speaking to you, the people I know in that class, and I know who you are. Stewardship. Again, you want to serve. You enjoy serving. As much as I might say, yeah, I've been through the burnout side of teaching, guess what? I like stewardship. I like serving. I could never be a salesperson. I know people who are so good at sales and they love it, and I'm just like, I always knew whatever profession I did had to be something that involves stewardship. And some of you are like that. I am committed to the growth of people, and I think that's why I keep coming back. Many, many times I thought I'd go do something different in my life, and I wanted to be women's rights activist lawyer, so still serving positions. But I've always come back to teaching, because I do, with all my heart, believe the most important thing you can do is get an education and trying to grow the group of people I educate and hopefully even build a community. So there they are. Some key characteristics. Obviously, you don't have to write this down, but this is what we would call kind of like a little meta-analysis. So all these different studies have been done over the years on servant leadership, and here's what we're finding out. A lot of the same values keep coming up again and again. A lot of humility, a lot of stewardship. You have to enjoy and find your happiness in serving other people. Even over here, again, you see humility comes up several times, wisdom a lot, moral responsibility, courage, forgiveness. I'm going to talk again a little bit more about a few of the things involved in all of this, because when you're talking about an altruistic calling and emotional healing, I mean, this is tough stuff. I think a servant leader is someone who's incredibly strong, but again, can also become burnt out and some other issues. So, this is a fun one. God, talking about theory of leadership. Yes, this is so fun. One of the things we know about servant leadership is it has been shown to work. So it works for the followers. Again, I'm not so sure how the leader is left in the aftermath, but we can say that the research has shown that the model works. So here's what we look at. You see there are three parts to the model: the antecedent conditions, the servant leader behaviors, and the outcomes. Okay, so what we have to look at is what's happening before. So right now, if I were to look at this and say, okay, culture and context, this staying inside and reading, I don't know. It's weird. I'm missing the sunshine. The rain isn't helping. So I take a look at myself and I say, well, how could I motivate this group better? I can't do cartwheels in the class with you, but what can I do? Get my ass downstairs, record a new video, and try to make these folks be better than I am, because I kind of slacked off for a couple weeks. I don't know what your receptivity is going to be to that, but from the short time we had in person, I actually think you'll be like, okay, she's back. We need to get our shit together. I hope so. So now I'm back. How do we do that? Well, we have got to put you first. We've got to get you through your project. We've got to empower you to make you feel like you have the resources you need and kind of come back together as a community. Interestingly enough, one of the things I thought about was doing a live Zoom with the whole class, because I thought that would really help. Why am I hesitant to do that? Because I'm also very respectful of people's time. And some of you may still be working and moving and everything else. And to get, 55 people to sit down at 2:00 and say, you have to participate. It could be for the benefit of us to do that, because I think it would do some of what's in here. We could kind of all go back and recreate a vision and recreate that atmosphere. But at the same time, again, I'm trying to be mindful of your time. So trying to do some of that and create some value for you, making sure that you see this project is still very valuable for your future, that you have a leadership philosophy when you leave here, that you can say something, and really making sure you're all healthy and okay. I ended up Zooming with a woman from a totally different class yesterday and it was just her and me, and we ended up talking, and she's going through a divorce. People tell me all kinds of stuff. What is it? Is it the face? And, we just talked about it. And I think that's what I'm here for. Hopefully, if these things happen and I create value for you, I put you first, I help you succeed, I give you a vision, all of that stuff that's there, it will say that you will grow. Your performance and growth will increase. That there will be not only that performance and growth for you, but maybe for your group, and maybe you'll even take that into society. What we know from the research is if we do these things, these outcomes really do happen. We have seen the servant leader who can do this, and it usually does become very positive in the outcomes. One of the activities I did in class was, if SDSU was truly a servant leader, what could they do? This was great. You guys did an awesome job at that. You looked at SDSU and you gave me all these different ways they could help you grow and impact our society better than what they're doing now. And I'll show you a model if you want to see it, because past students have done an awesome job. And they did it by looking at community colleges and saying, well, community colleges are a better servant leader than SDSU is. So how do you fit that into the model and make it change? All right, what do we got? Strengths and criticisms. Okay, here are the strengths and criticisms of it. Once again, altruism is at the center. I think that is a strength, but it's also a negative because it gives up control and power. And here's another one of these, the kind of nature where I said, if I'm serving, then I'm not leading. So what happens in a lot of nonprofits, and I've seen this happen in ministry a lot, where a pastor or someone feels they have to, meet all of their followers' needs. And you see it in nonprofits, because then volunteers will start telling the leaders how they should run things. And you can't say no to volunteers. You can't say no to the very people who are helping, put your paycheck on the table. It doesn't work that way. So it's a very fine line between saying, I'm still the leader. I am here to serve you, but at times I know better than you, and you have to trust me. Because remember, go back to what I said at the beginning. If I said, I'm going to give up my power to serve you, would you know the best way to grow yourself? And I do want to serve you, but we're still having a test, and you still have papers due, and you still have a project due, because I honestly believe by doing those things, you're going to get to those outcomes. All right. It can be very conditional and situational based on who the followers are. Again, it takes me back to the notion of situational leadership. And we said that in situational leadership, one of the tough things about it is if you've got a ton of followers, you've got to figure out where every single individual person is. And again, that can just be a lot. One of the very large strengths here is it is well researched and validated. We do know that engaging in these altruistic serving behaviors, we can change and produce higher personal growth, organizational growth, and societal growth. Again, it's still paradoxical in nature. It seems fairly utopian. I think I should add another little water drop right there saying it also has a high rate of burnout. And I think you can see why from what it's calling for the leader to do. Many of the traits, behaviors, if you go back to kind of that chart here, we're still not sure all of it, but we have a pretty good record of a few of the traits and behaviors. I don't know if all 10 of these behaviors are needed, and that's what that last kind of criticism is referring to. So, I'm not going to talk about authentic leadership today because I have about a 20-minute span before you lose interest, and I don't have very many other props around here to keep you interested. Really don't. It's a pretty sad dungeon I'm in. But I got lots of pasta. If you need any, let me know. Here to serve you. And we'll pick up with authentic leadership. And yeah, questions, concerns. Go be leaders. We can do this. Pretend I am there doing cartwheels in front of you. All right? All right. We will come back. We will talk about authentic leadership. We'll make things happen. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Stay healthy. And I'll talk with you soon.